DJ Spinderella, hip hop legend. That's right, DJ Spinderella of Salt-N-Pepa. She's up next. Let's talk. What's up, everybody out there? How you doing? Welcome back over here to my channel, Pepe's Point of View, and I am your R&B historian, Pepe. Thank you guys for checking me out again. Welcome you new viewers, you returning viewers, and you subscribers. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Once again, I appreciate all of your, support. I really do. Well, let's just jump right into it, okay? I'm not going to do the regular smuggler. Not going to do it. I don't want to be long with you at all. So for the past couple of days, I've been wanting to watch DJ Spinderella of Salt-N-Pepa fame. Where is it? That's right. Got, over here, when I can produce my music, I like to produce my music. I have a Salt-N-Pepa album or CD cover, right? They're super hits. Here you go. So Salt-N-Pepa, right? They're super hits. I have this copy here. All right, you see? Okay. Well, anyway, so she's over here on Drink Champs, right? Yeah, that's where she is. And Nori and the guys over there, they are interviewing her, of course, and they're talking about, the title says DJ Spinderella on Salt-N-Pepa Split, Royalty Battle, Tupac, Wu-Tang Connection, and more. All right. So that's the title of the video over there on Drink Champs. All right. So if you haven't seen it, I'm telling you, you need to go and check it out. However, I had to stop. I got 30 minutes into it and I stopped. I was like, okay, this is look like it's kind of like pulling teeth. Nori usually do good, interviews. He does, and I had to stop because I feel like the 2 hour and 30-minute interview is just going to be long and drawn out because you really want to get into, all of the, things that was going on, with DJ Spinderella's Salt-N-Pepa. You guys are already making me tired. So let me go ahead on and say allegedly. All right. Whew, anyway. And so, first of all, congratulations to Spinderella. She mentioned within that 30 minutes of the interview, first 30 minutes of the interview, that she did have to take Salt-N-Pepa to court. She did, I guess, ended up victorious with her court case, being that whatever she felt like she was owed, it did come, to her. A lot of artists don't have that story, especially with groups. There's a lot of groups out there right now who have trademark battles right now as I am speaking to you guys. Like, say, for instance, Climax. I know Climax is still going through a trademark battle. I do know that the Isley Brothers was going through a trademark battle, but Rudolph Isley, unfortunately, he passed before that went to court. So I'm not quite sure how that kind of worked out. But anyway, so I know they went through their trademark battle. Of course, the ladies of En Vogue, I love En Vogue. They had their trademark battles. I think that there's some guys in the New Edition camp, two of them. Now, I don't know if it's Johnny. Like I said, it's alleged, sometimes I don't hit the bull's eye, but I'm right there on the board. A couple of guys in New Edition on the New Edition trademark, so on and so forth. Yeah, speaking of trademarks, I just realized too, I came across an interview with Divas of TLC. And she said that she purchased. Now, this is allegedly what I'm saying because she was kind of tight-lipped about who it was, but we all know who she was speaking about. T-Balls or TLC mentioned that she had to buy back the name TLC. And it's no secret. I mean, it's already out there. We know she was talking about Pebbles. But now, like I said, I hate when this happens because I'm trying to stay focused on one thing and then I end up going to another. Just hold this because you probably do want to hear this. Now, Pebbles has always said from the very beginning, she was a scapegoat, right? She is not the one who had the money, if you will. This is according to Pebbles, and you can watch all kinds of interviews throughout the years, and she has stuck to that story. As a matter of fact, she has also went on to say that she does not break NDAs. Like if she signed a contract or whatever the case may be, and this is what it is, and I'm not talking about it, she has said, I don't break, these NDAs. So on and so forth. But anywho, she said it wasn't her. The money, of course, went from the top down. So whatever money she got, it's pennies, considering LaFace, Arista, I think she mentioned BMG as well. And so anyway, but when she did go through the lawsuit with her then husband, yes, they were married at the time. I mean, tell you, I will talk about this. I don't know if I want to talk about that though. But anyway, she when they finally went to court and they paid Pebbles because Pebbles sued. She sued a lot of people and she continued to sue. And each and every time she sued, she's won, right? Even with TLC's movie, Pebbles sued and she got some money, because of the way she was portrayed in the movie. So yeah, but anywho, so Pebbles says she didn't get anywhere near the amount of money she should have gotten with all of the shenanigans that was going on between allegedly, let's say L.A. Reid and TLC, and she found herself in the mix of it. But she did say they did give her $1 million per letter. Pebbles now, I'm not talking about T-Boss, Pebbles. They gave her $1 million per letter. So she got $3 million, but she didn't talk about any other monies after that, okay, as far as the group is concerned, because she said she didn't get anywhere near what she was supposed to get when she sued L.A. Reid and Arista and all that stuff, right? That's in LaFace Records. So that's why I'm saying that it has to be Pebbles that she probably bought the rights back of the name TLC. That's what I'm thinking, right? But anyway, moving on from that, let's talk about, again, Salt-N-Pepa. The reason why I want to bring up DJ, I'm sorry, you guys, DJ Spinderella. Ooh, see, I'm saying I'm all over the place. I'm not. All right, so we got Salt-N-Pepa over here and DJ Spinderella. If you don't know who DJ Spinderella is, she's in the middle. All right, so let's talk for a minute. Let me calm this thing down. She took them to court. She's won, right? DJ Spinderella, just like, I guess, Pebbles, if you want to, compare the two, is basically saying, hey, I'm going to let them tell their story. It's what it is. And she's talking about Salt-N-Pepa and Herbie Lovebug, right? I'm just going to stick with mine. Now, that's red flag number one for me. The reason why it's red flag number one is because I feel like the reason why this interview for Nori is probably not going as well as I think it should for him, this is just my opinion, is because, hey, I took him to court. There might be certain things that I can't talk about. Nori has never, to me, been someone to stumble over anything. You know what I'm saying? Of interviews that I've actually watched, with him. So it looks like he's kind of struggling as well. But I think it's just for that reason alone. And then DJ Spin, unfortunately, she's not really being forthcoming, and just in my opinion. And I think it's because of the court case. It's over. But here's what I think. And you guys out there, if you are fans of Salt-N-Pepa and DJ Spinderella, and you have followed them like I have from day one with the release of their first album, Hot, Cool, and Vicious, I believe it was. And if you have followed them all the way up until their last record, then you're probably going to say, hey, Peppy, you might be on to something. So I'm going to tell you how I feel like all of this transpired, okay? Now, DJ Spinderella mentioned she never had a contract, okay, with Salt-N-Pepa, the record company, or Irby. Just leave it at right there at that. And then let me tell you how I think this interview should have gone. Number one, Peppa said when this ish hit the fan of the first round, and Peppa has been on interviews in the past, way back in the past. I'm here to tell you, like in the early 2000s. And she has said, we, Salt-N-Pepa, have always felt like they paid DJ Spinderella, for her services. Like she always got paid. That's how they looked at it. Like I guess you want to call it work for hire. I think that's the correct term for it. But at the end of the day, there was no need for a contract because we always paid her. So whenever it was time for us to pay her for her services, so on and so forth, that's what they did. So that's the reason why there was not a contract. Even if DJ Spinderella said, hey, I want a contract, I do know you can go and find interviews with Peppa saying that's the reason why they looked at it that way. So let's leave that to rest for a minute, just for a minute, because it still is an issue. Whew. Now, I've never seen the first Spinderella. I've never seen her, even though she's on the cover of the first album, Hot, Cool, and Vicious. DJ Spinderella is on the first record, Hot, Cool, and Vicious, the one with Push It on it, Tramp on it. But of course, just like I give you a prime example, I have the album cover over there. I'll let you see it, but it is what it is. Kind of like with Guy. Those of you who remember Guy back in the day with Teddy Riley, and Aaron Hall, then you remember a guy by the name of Timmy Gatling. Okay, now if you look at the album cover, Timmy is on it, but when you see the video, so on and so forth, he's not there. It's Aaron Hall's brother, Damian Hall, who is actually who we all are familiar with as far as being a member of Guy. So kind of keep that in mind, okay, if you will. Like as soon as they signed the contracts, they went into the studio to produce the album. The album is ready. They did the video shoots for the photo shoots and stuff for, to promote the album. And then when it's time to go in and shoot the video, right, there's a member change. And so that's kind of like what happened. The same thing that happened with Guy is the same thing that happened with Salt-N-Pepa. So now we have this DJ Spinderella in, okay? Whew. Now, what you need to also understand is that, from my understanding, it has always been that Irby, Lovebug, is the one who's responsible for finding this group per se. It's a long story about how they was working together, so on and so forth. It is what it is. We're not going to jump right into that at all, okay? Now, so here's how I'm thinking all of this unfolded. Okay, just based off what I have gathered throughout the years, with Salt-N-Pepa. And you guys, just follow with me. I'm not going to be long at all. And I'm going to tell you how this looked like it's split up and what DJ Spinderella is probably not saying right now. She's probably saying it in the other parts of the video, in the interview, but I just can't wait that long, So if you look at the album credits, okay, we use album credits loosely, simply because, how can I put it? You just never know. Sometimes people take an artist's name off a record and put their name on it, so on and so forth, and say they're the writer, and that's not true. But let's just talk about what we know. And what we know right now is that first album, Hot, Cool, and Vicious, was written. The majority of that album was written by Irby Lovebug, all right? It was written and produced by him, okay? Then you go to the next album. A Salt with a Deadly Pepper, okay? And that is the one with Shake Your Thing on it, Twist and Shout, so on and so forth. All right, so writers on the album, I'm not quite sure, but I do know, and I'm trying to get somewhere, okay? So let's just say for the most part, Pepper, I mean not Pepper, but Salt and Pepper probably did not have much say-so. I'm going somewhere with the writing and the production on the first the first two albums. Just follow with me, okay? But now, by the time Salt-N-Pepa get to their third album, Black's Magic, okay? By the time they get to that album, this is when things started to change in Salt-N-Pepa's camp. You find Salt, who's over here at the end, for those of you who don't know, okay? Well, my right? Yeah, y'all left. But anyway, Salt, takes more of a creative control in the group, okay? Salt starts writing, Salt starts producing. I'm going to say all of the ladies do, but Salt especially has a lot of, influence, if you will, on this album, a lot of creative control, okay? And here it says she has actually produced 4 of the songs on that album. Salt has, okay? And the 4 of the songs on the album that she is responsible for producing, and Spinderella also produced on that track. It doesn't say anything about Pepper producing on that track, but Spinderella does have production credit on that album. Where I'm going with that, I'm trying to get to a number, just trying to get to a number, okay? Expression is one. We're talking about Pepper. Independent are 2 of the songs that Pepper, I don't know why I'm getting this confused. I need to slow down. Salt produced. Those were big hits on that album. I liked them. Expression and Independent was great, big songs on that album for them. It was a huge album for them, okay? And what ends up happening after it sold like over 1 million copies, something in the Salt-N-Pepa camp started to change. Just me, I'm saying allegedly. Salt takes more of a creative control. Like in my head, it's like, you know what, hey, I can do this, so on and so forth. I'm producing, I got some hits under my belt. I'm taking more of a creative control in the group. And all I'm going to say, this is what I'm going to say. Somehow or another, if you can follow with me, okay, somehow or another, what ends up happening is that Irby and Salt, for whatever reason, and I don't know why, but Irby and Salt allegedly had some, what do you want to call it? They had some legal things going on, all right? Even though he did show up on the Very Necessary album, okay? So between the Black's Magic album and the Very Necessary album, okay, that's the one with my favorite In Vogue, What a Man, for those of you who don't know, that song is on there. The ladies still have a lot of creative control over it. It was a huge album for them, right? So during this time, let's just say Pepper, Salt, and Irby are having some conflicts. They take Irby to court, or Irby takes them to court, all right? If I recall correctly, Irby lost out. He did. Salt ended up victorious. Now, that's all I know. That's all. That's all I know. I'm aware of, right? I'm saying that way. And so here's where I'm going with this. I kind of feel like some of the things that were happening in the group started to change once Salt started taking a more of a creative control over the group, production wise, writing concerns. Then you guys recall that Salt ends up becoming saved. There are certain songs that she doesn't want to perform anymore. There are certain kind of like what's my girl's name? Coco, kind of like Coco SWV. It's like, I'm not going to do that song anymore. I don't want to sing that song, so on and so forth. So if you follow SWV, then you already know how Taj and Lily feels about how they're in this, like, well, yeah, I'm not going to say we got to kind of bow to Coco's, demands, but that's kind of like what it's like, hey, Salt doesn't want to do it. Peppa said, I want to sing this song. I want to sing Push It. I want to sing this, that, and the other, so on and so forth. And Salt now is saying, you know what? Hey, I'm saved. I don't want to do all of these things that we used to do. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, so on and so forth. And, Peppa is kind of like a free spirit. Peppa is like, whatever. So you go through that. So what does all of this have to do with anything? Well, remember, DJ Spinderella said that Peppa understands a little bit of what DJ Spin was going through, simply because, she found herself having to, fight for certain things. Peppa has allegedly, according to DJ Spin, had to fight for certain things within the group as well, right? So she kind of finally understood where DJ Spin was coming from. Now, here's where we are about to have some issues, right, in the group. Now, remember, no contract. I need to replay this again. I'm not going to go in depth with this. I just want to hit the high points for those of you who kind of like, where is he going? DJ Spinderella, this one, the one we all know, she shows up. No contract. Peppa says in the beginning, we always felt like we hired her. You was work for hire. We paid you whenever you did your show, so on and so forth. There was probably no need for a contract because that's the way we looked at it. Hold on. Salt now finds herself by the third album, Black's Magic. She is writing, she's producing, so on and so forth. And by the time they get into the Very Necessary album, she's still, taking more of a creative control in the group. And then all of a sudden, Irby is out of the picture. There's a lawsuit, or the two of them are suing each other for something, right? It is what it is. Y'all go find that out. But there was a court case between Irby and Salt for whatever reason. They become victorious in that. So then they signed, because the Very Necessary album was so huge, and it's all over the place. And for whatever reason, they find themselves, Salt-N-Pepa, being courted by another record label. Now, if I remember correctly, now this is just me. Back in the day, I was always reading magazines, so on and so forth, and watching television, watching, the videos and the video shows. I remember that record company. Is it Red Ant Records? It's Red Ant. Let me make sure. I'm sometimes a little fuzzy on the details, but I know it's Red Ant. Let me see, y'all. Because the song was called Giddy Up. Was it called Giddy Up? Red Ant. London. Okay, it's London, but I think it's London Red Ant Records, or Red Ant London Records, or something like that. But anyway, it's London Records. So remember, right? When London Records signed Salt-N-Pepa, they got a huge advance, from my understanding, from what the reports were saying back in the day. Now, depending on who you talk to, who you ask, it was $10 million. They got a lot of money. I mean, advanced off that record. And think about it, very necessary. Like these ladies worked really hard. It's just what it is. I mean, it's like each album did what it was supposed to do for Salt-N-Pepa. It set them up. Each album really set them up. So when you say these ladies worked really hard and so on and so forth, so I'm not knocking anything that they had going on. It is what it is. You know, more power to them. You know, woman power, girl power, female rapper power, whatever you want to call it. More power to them. They get this huge advance of $10 million. Now this is when it's about to start really becoming an issue with DJ Spinderella. Well, from my understanding, like that you do the math, it's $10 million. I ain't the one to gossip, but now, from my understanding, I would like to assume that, you know, DJ Spin been with this group the whole entire time. She's looking like, hey, I'm about to get the bag. You know, I'm about to get my money. She didn't. Allegedly, Salt-N-Pepa split the majority of that $10 million advance between the two of them. Did not give Spin anything. According to Spin back in the day, it was nowhere near what she thought. So when she said it's nowhere near what she thought she was going to get, I'm just willing to believe she didn't even get $1 million. That's what I'm saying. They probably gave her, you know, I don't know, maybe anywhere between, I'm going to say, 5 and maybe 700,000, because she said it was nowhere near. She was really thinking like, wow, you know, I'm going to get paid, you know, this $10 million advance. Well, it is what it is. All I'm saying is that the song came out, Giddy Up. I think that's the name of it. It was called Giddy Up. I do believe that's the name of it. No, it says, Are You Ready? Okay, no, it's Giddy Up. No, I see it. It's Giddy Up. It came out, and I think the company folded, right? I think the company folded, like it went bankrupt or whatever, and I'm going to assume because the record just did not do what it was supposed to do, or they were already financially strapped, the record company was, something happened. That album, you know, even though it probably did go gold, because I don't think Salt-N-Pepa has had any poor sales throughout their career. I think every album they've ever released has at least gone at least gold, for sure, platinum, right? So the album went gold. I don't think it did well. Somehow or another, it ended. We didn't hear from them after that, okay? Where am I going? So that's the split. This is what's happening in the Salt-N-Pepa's camp, right? So now Irby is out the picture. Money has come in. Creative control has come in. Salt, I'm not dissing your Salt. It's just how it has unfolded in the media, right? So Salt is like, hey, she is in control of this. Remember now, Peppa was doing these reality shows, and I think Salt-N-Pepa even had a reality show at one point in time. Go back and watch all of this stuff. Like it's what it is. You know, I'm not saying anything that was not in the public. And the story was between the two of them was kind of like, I don't want to do that. You know, you remember in one of those reality shows that Salt-N-Pepa have, you know, Peppa went in and she got, you know, purchased a new home or something like that. And, you know, she was really getting excited because they was, you know, about to book these gigs again and so on and so forth. And Salt is looking at her like, why are you doing all that? Because I'm not trying to get back out on the road like this. I'm not trying to do this, that, and the other. And all I'm going to say is that in my head, I'm just willing to say, this is what I'm saying. I'm willing to say that maybe Salt was looking at it like, hey, I don't have to work that hard. You know, I got, you know, some money. I'm married. You know, I'm living for God, so on and so forth. I'm just not interested in doing any of those things anymore. And she has a right to do that. Why did this just pop in my head? See, y'all make me tired. About a year ago, Jackie McGee. Oh gosh, why I do this? Why do I do this to myself? Jackie McGee, you know Jackie McGee, Make It Last Forever, Jackie McGee with Keith Sweat, that Jackie McGee. Jackie McGee also appeared on the Black's Magic album. She was featured on the song Expressions. Again, a big hit for Salt-N-Pepa. Well, now I'm not the one to gossip, but it did come out of Jackie McGee's mouth. She made, she was interviewed saying that, during when we had the, the Oompa Loompa. Yeah, I'm calling it the Oompa Loompa, the 2020, when we had the 2020, the 2019-2020 episode. And I guess everybody kind of strapped for money. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody's trying to, money is, people are like, hey, I'm not working under these conditions, and performances are kind of drying up, and people trying to find creative ways to keep that money going in, and so on and so forth. So Jackie McGee was like, saying, hey, wait a minute, I just realized something. I didn't get paid for expressions. And she said, Jackie McGee said, well, Salt was like, well, that's Irby. That has nothing to do with me. Irby is the one that, you should be, going after, because he's the one who did X, Y, and Z, so on and so forth. So with Salt-N-Pepa, it's always been a contractual thing. Like, it's not us, it's Irby. They have always made that point. Well, Jackie McGee was like, hey, you know what it is, I'm not even going to press the issue. So you have to talk to Jackie McGee and find out, what happened with that, so on and so forth. But anyway, so that's what you have. And so this entire time, it has been Salt-N-Pepa's view about what were the right, what's the word I'm looking for? They have always felt that they handled it legally, from a legal standpoint, meaning we paid your DJ Spin. We pretty much don't really feel like we owe you anything as far as that $10 million advance is concerned. Well, we looked at it like, hey, this is our blood, sweat, and tears into, our grind from day one. You wasn't a day oneer. So you have not contributed to receiving, a third of this $10 million advance. Well, I think that was a straw for her that broke the camel's back. We'll find out in the, other hour and 30 minutes of the video, because I just couldn't wait to see if she was going to talk about all this or not. Long story short story long. So this is what we have here. Right now, I was always under the impression, and this is me, I feel just like Nori, I feel the same way Nori feels, and that is, yeah, it's very sad to see that it did come to this, because here I go again saying, like, yes, I can see from the production and the writing credits that Spin definitely, her name is definitely there, so I don't understand why is it that she didn't get paid from the record companies. And here's what I'm saying. So even when she was writing and producing songs with Salt-N-Pepa and performing on those songs, she never got paid for them. Like, yeah. Like, how does that work? No, listen to what I'm saying. How does that work? Well, if you're a producer, right? Don't you get producer's fees? I'm talking about like producer fees. Did you get paid to produce? Producer have a producer fee like that. This is what I'm going to charge to produce this record. Did she get paid for that? That's just my question. If she appeared on, let's say the song, what's the name of the song? What a Man. She appeared on What a Man, right? Did she get paid for her verse? Like, hey, we're gonna put you on this verse, we cutting you a check. Did they cut you a check to appear, to have your verse on that song? You see what I'm saying? If they were always paying her for her services. But now again, as Spin has said, it's about my royalties, it's about my portion of record sales, so on and so forth. That's interesting. It's just interesting to see how that worked. And of course, as you said before, they did not have a contract. I was going to assume, as she said, right now we do have a contract. Everything is in place. Hopefully everything gets water under the bridge, so on and so forth. But that's pretty much how I would say this story unfolded, right? And how we got to where we are right now. And I just feel like from a creative and standpoint, it will probably more than likely be, Salt would be the one who has the creative control as far as, in a lot of say so, whether or not we're going to do X, Y, and Z, simply because, she is in a different place in her life, so on and so forth. Yeah. Well, I think that's it. I don't have anything else to say. I really don't. Well, if you made it this far in my commentary, then I think it's definitely appropriate for me to just go ahead and say to you guys, hey, listen up. Hit the like button, subscribe button, all that stuff, leave a comment, so on and so forth. I appreciate you guys. I really do. And also, remember, my motto over here is simple. Put your behind where your heart desires to be. And whenever I leave my mother's presence, she always says to me, she says, baby, remember, I love you, but God loves you best. I look forward to seeing you next video. And until then, you know what to do. Take care of yourselves out there. All right.